Hello everyone, my name is Nearview and I'm joined by my friend Jester Days. I would like to welcome everyone to the first ever episode of Sightstone, a video series dedicated to the discussion of League of Legends. However, these videos won't be focusing on what's happening on the live servers of League of Legends, but instead will focus on the public beta environment as well as recent posts by Riot employees talking about possible changes and reworks to champions, as well as changes to itemization. There might be things we miss here and there, but we are going to try and hit on everything that we think the community is most interested in. If there is something that we miss that you guys would like us to discuss, please feel free to leave a comment below. One more thing, and then we'll go move on to the actual discussion. Please keep in mind that everything we are talking about comes from either the public beta environment or posts by Riot employees discussing possible changes. Nothing we discuss here is set in stone and is always subject to change. If you like the video, please remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe or leave a comment below. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. So let's start with Viktor. So Jester, Riot's pretty happy with Viktor and where he stands damage-wise, as well as with the skill required to play him. Can you tell us more about what Riot thinks are his weaknesses and some possibilities they're discussing for changes?
Alright, so the problem with Viktor is his passive, so we're going to have to get into that a little bit. His passive are the augments that he can purchase in the store. One of three, and each one, depending on which one you purchase, will change the effect of one of your spells. However, regardless of which one you purchase, they will always be taking up an item slot, and you do not have the choice of not having one of them. So, according to Soul Crush, they're coming up with the idea, they're trying it out, to give you the ability to buy multiple augments and combine them, such as the red and the yellow, to make an orange, and you would keep the bonus effects on the spells. However, the stats would be nerfed, otherwise it'd be extremely cost effective and very overpowered. As a Viktor player myself, I think this is a fantastic idea. He's very well designed. The only problem is that passive. It really weighs him down late game. And that's the thoughts on Viktor.
Great, so let's move on to Rengar. Riot is currently unhappy with how Rengar's ferocity system works and are also going to be reworking his ult. Can you tell us about some of their thoughts and ideas on that?
According to Classic, they are very unhappy with ferocity scaling, and they're thinking of instead having it scale with Rengar's level across all spells, or maybe getting the Q and AD scaling of its own. His ult right now is very unpredictable and very difficult for enemies to figure out what's going on, so enemies will be notified whenever Rengar is nearby and can see them, and to compensate for this, they will be giving Rengar's ult a movement speed buff and longer duration. A big question asked by the community was, is he going to be a bruiser or an assassin after some of these changes? And they're trying to give you the ability to choose which path you want mid-game, depending on the spells you choose to level up, the items, and how you use your ferocity. And that's their plans with Rengar, possible plans.
Great. Let's move on to Sion. Sion's a weird champion in that he is a lifesteal AD carry, but can also be played as an AP caster, and he doesn't really fit into the current meta of the game. What are they looking at with Sion and why?
They're not 100% sure what they want to do with Sion, but they know for sure that he's just not working right now. He can't be a melee AD carry because that just currently doesn't fit in the meta. And compared to other mages, if he decides to go AP, he just simply doesn't compare. So they're looking into changes on that.
Great. So, okay, we're going to group a couple here. Urgot and Akali. So Riot's currently looking into Urgot and Akali, but there isn't a lot of information out there yet on these champions and what they're planning on doing. Can you fill us in on what we do know?
Morello mentioned that Urgot is a very niche style of play, and they don't want to change that because not many people can fill that role, and they don't want to remove that entirely. So they're going to be changing a little bit about him, but they want to keep his play style essentially the same. As for Akali, Static has just thrown out a few ideas that have been scrapped and just letting you know that they're working on her, but nothing is set in stone, and they're really just brainstorming for Akali.
Great. Now, just real quick with an AD carries in general, Riot did mention that they are unsatisfied with the current state of melee ADC carries, and they don't want them to be reliant completely on auto attacks, and they want their abilities to play into it a little bit. So they're messing around with that, but we don't have a lot of information on it. So just wanted to mention that. And as soon as we do get more information on maybe some of their plans for melee ADC carries, we'll bring that to you in a separate video. Also, quick mention, Heimerdinger and Xerath are getting some major changes, and Heimerdinger is the next champion that will be reworked. Unfortunately, there's a lot of information for him and a whole spell list of all of his new abilities, so we're going to be bringing you that in a separate video. So if you're interested, look for that video on Heimerdinger and Xerath, and we'll be bringing that to you soon. So next, let's move on to the PBE. So what's happening over on the public beta environment? Tell us about some things that we can find over there that aren't currently on live servers.
I'm sure many of you are very aware of LoL Replay. Riot is trying to bring in their own system of replays into the game. Right now, you can use it, but it will not work with games that have been played before the feature is established. And it works just like you're spectating a game. Exact same look, exact same controls.
So do you have the freedom of the camera movement that LoL Replay gives you?
The camera movements and the ability to go down to ground level, and then which you have in LoL Replay, is not there. It is entirely just like spectator mode.
Okay, well, can you tell us about what skins are currently available on the PBE that will be releasing soon onto live?
There's a new skin based off the Weeping Woman called La Llorona Morgana, and it's being released to celebrate the Latin American servers finally seeing the light of day. The Taipei Assassins are getting a skin, one for each player, for their victory in the Season 2 championships, of course. The skins will be for Nunu, Shen, Oriana, Mundo, and Ezreal.
So that's pretty much the big things that are happening over on the public beta environment. As well as you guys have heard, Aatrox, a new champion, is going to be released soon. As soon as he comes out, we here at Sightstone will bring you a first impressions gameplay footage and show you how he looks in an actual game. Well, folks, that's all for this episode of Sightstone. If we forgot to mention something that you're interested in, please feel free to let us know in a comment below. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. We're hoping to do about a video a week, but if there's a lot of information coming out, we might switch to doing 2 videos a week instead of 1.
We'd also like to thank Riot for keeping the community up to date on their plans, as well as Surrender at 20 and reignofgaming.net for source material. We've provided links in the descriptions below to both websites.